Have you ever gone to your computer trying to load a file and only not to be able to find it? Today I want to show you how I organize my files to be able to easily pull those files up, load them into the OpenBuilds controller, and run the job. When you open up the file, you want to be able to find that file easily without having to hunt for it, and you want all of the files to be together. I'm going to show you a real simple way to be able to do that today. Now, the first thing I want to say is I do not store any of my files on the computer itself. To me, that just loads down the computer and ultimately makes the computer run slow. Rather than doing that, I use the actual thumb drives. Now, I have 3 different thumb drives. The first thumb drive that I use is this one right here, and that takes care of all of the 3D print files that I have. The second thumb drive that I have is this one right here that takes care of all the laser files. And the third one is over here in the computer right now for all of the CNC files. And that's the first thing that helps keep everything organized, because each type of process will be on a different thumb drive. On my computer, I only have 2 USB ports, and to me that's not enough. Now this one right here is where the computer is connected directly to the CNC machine, and I think that's very important. The next thing that I have is this device right here. Now this allows me to be able to plug in multiple different types of storage devices. I use the thumb drive for the CNC machine to be able to keep all of my files stored there. Of course, this little guy right there is able to control the mouse. And I have one more USB port that is still open. And to me, this gives me sufficient number of ports to be able to run the machine. When I first started using the CNC machine, the files that I were running were very simple. Typically, it was just 1 bit, and I would run the job, and that was fairly easy to be able to manage. But over the years, the projects that I have been doing are getting to be more and more complex. Therefore, I have more and more different toolpaths that are being created. Because the natural progression was you start out with that 1 bit and you make very simple designs. And then you start improving, learning, and adding a 2nd bit. The easel software that I've used for many years has it where you have what's called 2-stage carving. And that allows you to be able to choose 1 bit for your roughing pass and 1 bit for your detail pass. And that works quite well for a lot of different projects. But what happens if you need more different tool paths? One such project that I recently did, and I designed it in the VCarve Pro, I actually had 8 different signs to be able to carve, each having its own separate tool paths. And I still wanted to keep all of those files together. Let me show you exactly how I set that up to be able to do it. The only files that I actually keep on the computer are the actual software that I use. I do not store any of the project files on the computer whatsoever. Now, in this particular file that I did, I created a layer for each of the signs. So if I open up the layers, you're going to see 8 different signs. Each of these signs will have its own separate tool paths. And they're all going to be different. And there's 2 different bits that I use. One was a clearing pass that I used, and then another was a detail pass that cut out all the little small intricates around the different letters. Now, I wanted to keep this file all together as one. So when I come over to the thumb drive, this is my USB drive, and it's in F. And F was one of those slots that I just showed you in that device that I have. Now, these are all of the different files that I have, and there's literally hundreds of different files that I have collected over the years that I have designed. The one that I did was this one right here. And when I open that up, I have a file for each of those signs. And when I look at inside of there, I have the different tool paths for each sign, and it's all separated. What does that mean? It means when I get ready to do this particular sign, I know that this is the clearing path, This would be the detail pass. Now this was a tiling project, so this was tile number 1, and then I had tile number 2, so that created another clearing pass and a detail pass to be able to run that sign. But if I look at this, all 8 signs have the exact same format. If I wanted to run habit number 4 for that sign, you can see the G-code files are set up exactly the same way. The main file right down here is the one that's actually in the VCarve Pro itself, so I always have the original file. And that would be this file right here with all of the habits available, and it makes it where if I need to, I could change a particular design or add to it and then save it back onto the thumb drive. So how do you go about setting these files up? Well, if I go back to the USB drive itself, this is where everything is showing all the different files. So if I want to be able to create a brand new file, you can come right over here. Now I'm in the USB drive itself. I'm not in any of these individual files. So I can click New, and then I can click on Folder. And when I do that, it brings up a brand new folder that I can name. And what I'll do right now is just type in as a test folder. So now I have a brand new folder that's entitled Test Folder in my USB drive. So now, when I come over and I'm working in the VCarve Pro or whatever software that you're using, and I'm ready to be able to save the file, I can save it directly into my new folder. Now inside of here, of course, there's nothing here right now. But if I have a file that I'm designing, then I would come up to the test folder. I would save that file right into this folder. I want to show you one more example. So I'm going to close out of this particular file. I'm going to go down and I'm just going to select the next one down and be able to show you. So this was a BM3 Insignia vector file that I had created. So let's open that up. And this is the file that I had created. So if I wanted to make any changes, I could make changes to this file. But what's nice is when this file is done and I'm ready to be able to carve it, I can come right over to my files again. I can see exactly the files that I need to run. So for an example, on that Insignia, I have to run a black clearing, and then I'll have a detail pass that I will be running, and that was a 16th inch bit. And then I have the original file itself, and then I have the red color to be able to do the same thing, a clearing pass and a detail pass. And that makes it so much easier to be able to keep your files organized so you can go anytime and go directly to the files that you need. Here's a quick look at that file completed where I did the epoxy inlays. And that's the case with any of the files that I have. If I want to look at another one, for an example, let's just take a look at this one, the Cougar files. I can click on that and I can see the same thing. Here's the original drawing that was in the VCarve Pro. And then here are all the different tool paths necessary to be able to carve that out. And I have these labeled as far as the type of end mill that I'm using and the clearing bits that I'm using, so I know exactly what I'm going to be using for that particular file. If I want to go back and take a look at the original one, I can open this up and we can see exactly what's taking place there. We'll minimize that, and there's the Cougar. Being able to keep your files organized makes this hobby so much more enjoyable. And if you are doing projects that you're selling, well, time is money, and you need to be able to access those files very quickly without having any dead time wasted just hunting for a particular file to be able to load into the CNC machine. So I hope this video helped you. I know it was a short video, but I think it was a very important video to be able to show you exactly how I store the different files. I keep the computer free, and I keep these on the thumb drive to be able to keep it very organized and very simple. And being able to set up individual files for each project makes it so much easier to be able to find that particular file when you need it. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, give me a thumbs up, hit that little subscribe button down there, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye, everyone.